Good evening. I'd like to call the Tuesday, June 21st, 2016 City Council meeting to order. If you would please rise for our invocation that is led by our City Attorney, Mr. Tom Trask.
Heavenly Father, we come humbly before you in a time of a national tragedy. The deaths and terrible injuries suffered by the victims of the Orlando shootings burdens our hearts, a burden shared throughout the nation. We pray that you will comfort the families of those injured or killed and welcome those who died into your heavenly kingdom. We are hopeful that your grace and love will be with those who have suffered and those present here tonight who share in their pain and loss. This we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and once again, welcome. And following on the invocation, I would also like to give our condolences, go out to Councilmember Dan Siraki's wife, Paula, for the loss of her mother. Our thoughts and prayers are with their family. That's why he's not with us tonight. Councilmember McGee has a previous engagement. And also, I talked to Coach Jordan Fair from Oldsmar Christian because I saw a post on Facebook, and one of the Oldsmar Christian basketball players, Herman Williams, passed away yesterday, unexpectedly playing basketball at his home. So I'm trying to find out exactly what happened, but real loss for the community as well. And Jordan, who's going to coach at the University of Louisville, used to take him into his home because he was from out of the area. So tragic loss for Oldsmar Christian as well. So our thoughts and prayers are with the people of Orlando and the men and women around the world and those local that we've lost as well. So thank you for that. Our first agenda item tonight is our Citizens Open Forum. It allows you to address the council. We only have a couple of rules that you keep it to no more than 5 minutes. State your name and address clearly for the record. And you can address any items that are on the agenda. But if they are public hearings, we ask that you hold those comments until such time, which we don't have any of those tonight. Having said that, anybody on this side like to address the council? Yep, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Scott Gangler. I live at 6230 Savannah Breeze Court. And if I may, I'd like to turn in a couple petitions to the clerk for record.
That'd be fine.
I would like to inform the council at this time of our efforts as a committee. Our committee has made processes forward within regards to getting horse trails open in the Mobley Bay Preserve. At this time, we've submitted a petition with 342 signatures of Oldsmar residents, as well as 45 businesses within Oldsmar that are all in support of seeing horse trails opened up within the preserve. At the advice of our attorney, we filed paperwork in the process of getting a 501 status within the state of Florida and the city of Oldsmar. This is intended to give our committee, Citizens for Horses, the platform which we need in order to yet continue and encourage our efforts within the city of Oldsmar. Our goal is again to not only encourage the council to allow the horse trails in Mobley Bio Reserve, but to also encourage the city of Oldsmar to be more horse friendly and help preserve the hoof print in our community for our future generations. Our committee, upon completion of the proper documentation and approval of our 501 status, we intend to apply for various grants offered by the state through programs that fall in line with outdoor activities described by the statewide comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, such known as SCORT. With this grant, we are hoping to get approved for a decent amount of funds that the council would feel is necessary to provide a trail system within the preserve. As to what that exact dollar amount is, we are uncertain at this time, and we are only looking to fulfill the previous expense requirements, which was estimated to be around $40,000 to $50,000. We look forward to working with the council and the city of Oldsmar to form a resolution regarding our mission for horse trails in the Mobley Bay Preserve.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I saw another hand. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
Good evening. I'm Kathy Pennington, and I live at 612 South Bayview Boulevard. And I was here just, I know Oldsmar is all about the parks, And I was wondering if there was any plan to redo the toddler park at RE Olds Park. Because I have a 16-month-old now, and the other parks are perfect for little kids too, but, you know, if they're just starting to walk, the toddler park just provides a little more independence because it's on the ground level, and I just wonder if there's anything I could do to initiate.
I know our playgrounds and facilities are on a rotating basis as a replacement. I don't know what the schedule is, or do you know by chance?
No, I don't have that committed to memory. I couldn't tell you tonight, but if you wanted to email or call, we could
Okay.
give you an answer. There is something scheduled for playground equipment replacement in RE Olds Park, I want to say within the next 24 months, but I'm not sure exactly
okay.
what part it is.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll give you a card if you need that, or it's not that hard to find us on the website.
Yeah, I'll find.
Bruce, I know you're considering that, put that plaque back up for the little park, the little girl that did all the work to get it down there.
Yeah, that's part scheduled to be replaced that was originally built for disabled children, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on this side of the room? Anybody on this side of the room? Anybody in the room? Seeing no one, we'll close the citizens open forum. Next is the mayor's minute. I'll be brief. I was honored to be the graduating class of 47 for the Pinellas County Sheriff's Citizens Academy. If you ever get a chance to do that, if you've taken our Oldsmar Citizens Academy, it's very similar to that, but you learn a lot about Pinellas County Sheriff's Department and the things that go on and what their day-to-day activities might be. It's 11 weeks with a graduation every Thursday, and it's really eye-opening. The tour of the jail was something that I'd prefer not to do again, unless it's from the outside looking in. But you get to do some pursuit training and some guns training, and you learn about forensics and the homicide units and really the day-to-day operations of the Sheriff's Department and all the different facets of it. So it's a great opportunity to do that, and you can do it as a couple if you would like. It's about a year's waiting list to do that, but you might want to go to the Pinellas County Sheriff's website.
Are you saying that if the deputies need a hand, you're ready to jump in there?
Oh, I'm all over it, yeah. I mean, I did shoot the guy that pulled a stapler on me, but, you know.
Deputy mayor.
That happens, yeah. City, yeah.
You know, I took that course back in the 70s, and actually.
It was in black and white, right?
Who rocks them?
It was still the Sheriff's Patrol back then, but you don't even know what I'm talking about. But anyway, I rode with them, and one night I decided that, I questioned myself, why did I ever do this? Because we got into a jam that was very strange and dangerous.
Serious?
And I came home and told my beautiful wife, this may be my last time I ride, but I'm not sure.
Did they give you one bullet like Barney?
Barney.
But if you do get a chance, it's definitely worth your time for sure. And they're just so excited, like the city of Oldsmar is, to tell you about the Sheriff's Department. City Hall has a new exhibit on the first floor featuring Alonzo High School art students highlighting different mediums and techniques in their creations. The second floor is shared by renowned Tampa Bay artists Tim Gibbons and Terry Navajo. Also, we have our community coffee. We had a great turnout for our quarterly community coffee with the Pinellas County Sheriff. Also had some staff from the city of Oldsmar to answer questions about hurricane preparedness. Thanks to Eves for hosting us on that. We do this quarterly. You can contact our clerk's office to find out more about that, but it's an opportunity for you to ask questions from the Sheriff's Department about safety and things that you can do. Obviously, the one big tip that they have is to make sure that your doors are locked. So especially heading into summer with kids out of school. Upcoming announcements: our Summer Festival of Racing and Music is Saturday, July 1st, which is, I believe, next Saturday? 6 to 11 o'clock at Tampa Bay Downs. Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce is putting it on. utbchamber.com for more information. And the 4th of July closures, all the offices at the city of Oldsmar will be closed Monday, July 4th in observance of Independence Day. That wraps up the mayor's minute. Our next item is the consent docket, and we have 4 items. Approve the minutes of the April 5th, 2016 City Council meeting. Approve payment to legal counsel. Approve tentative agenda for July 5th, 2016, and approve the city manager to advertise for bids for B16-02 city sidewalk and curb repairs. If nobody wishes to pull anything, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Passes 3-0. Thank you. City of Oldsmar. First item is consider the appointment of Carmen Bladt as a alternate member of the Leisure Services Advisory Board. Did I butcher your last name or no?
Yes.
I did? Oh, all right. Come on up. You can come up to the podium.
Hello, it's Bladt.
Black. Well, that's about what I said.
Yeah,
We'll
well,
review the tape.
no end.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I know that they had several people that applied for it. It's a fairly big board, and we really appreciate your desire to be on that board. Leisure service is a big part of the community and the activities that we have going on here, so they are a very important part and provide the city council a lot of great information. I don't know if anybody has any questions. I had not, yeah.
Thank you for serving.
Any questions? No? Well, we appreciate. Do you have any questions of us?
Not really.
No? Yeah, well, we look forward to you serving on the board. She just told you that the next meeting is canceled, I guess, for the summer, so, but we look forward to your input on the Leisure Services Board.
Yeah,
so thank you.
and I'm really excited about getting more involved with Oldsmar. We decided to move here, and we've had a grand time volunteering all over the place, so looking forward to having some input in the long run.
Oldsmar is looking forward for you to be on the board.
That's right.
Thank you.
And I don't know if you guys want her to sing the traditional Leisure Services Advisory Board song or not. I don't know if they...
I think you should lead her.
Yeah, if not, we'll just accept a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Yes.
Motion and a second. I don't know if you realize this, but you're the only two here that can make motions in seconds.
Right. I was looking at adding things to the agenda, but
I've been making motions in seconds for 28 years, so I decided not to make them or second them anymore.
We need
but I
you
will
tonight. This is the one time I can say we need you tonight. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you so much, really, for wanting to be a part of it. Consider appointment of John Paskert as an alternate member of the Veterans Advisory Board. Ta-da! Did I butcher that one too?
Yes.
Okay, good. I thought I said John fine. No? Yeah. So what is it?
Pardon me?
What's your name?
John Paskert.
Well, that's what I said, right? I think that's pretty good. Veterans Advisory Board, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I grew up in Tampa and enlisted in the United States Army in 1969. Did a couple of combat tours in Vietnam. Got out and joined the Army Reserves while I was going to the University of South Florida. And when I graduated from there, I got a commission, and so I did a couple of tours around the globe, and eventually got out, joined the reserves again in Washington, D.C. And then I was recalled to active duty during the first Gulf War, and at that time, I got done with that, time to retire.
I guess he's qualified, isn't he?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I appreciate it. And as like the previous board member, you know, it's a very important board. And one of the things that the Veterans Advisory Board wanted to do was trying to introduce some new people to the Veterans Advisory Board and some younger, I guess, if you will, people, because I mean, we're going to continue to get veterans and we're going to continue to lose people in war. And we want to make sure that we do it justice. And if you've been to our events, they continue to get better every year. And it's because of the Veterans Advisory Board that really provides the input and the structure to that. So we appreciate your service and we appreciate you wanting to be a part of this. Any other questions or input? Do you have any questions of us?
No, sir.
No, thank you so much. Because of your past service, we'll forego the song. So if we could get a motion.
so moved.
Second.
Second, motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, passes 3-0. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir.
Next is the presentation from, Fire and EMS Chief on hurricane preparedness, Chief O'Neill. Welcome.
Welcome, Mayor and Council. Dean O'Neill, Fire and EMS Chief. Just a yearly update on hurricane preparedness activities. 2016, we've heard Shaping up to be an average hurricane season. I try to tell people, don't listen to someone saying it's an average hurricane season. Doesn't matter how many storms they predict, how many landfalls they expect in the United States, it only takes one. So we prepare for those one events. We generally don't see storms named before July and August, and we had one a week ago when the city manager, our public works director, and myself were out of town. So our hurricane season is always a joint effort between Pinellas County, the City of Oldsmar, the Sheriff's Office, TICO, and Pinellas County Emergency Management, and of course the Fire Service. We do a pretty in-depth planning process each year. Sequence events, really what happens with this is we have an approaching weather system, and then we have a response operating coordinating group, which is made up of all the fire and EMS agencies, the Red Cross, multiple agencies throughout Pinellas County, nonprofits, and we get together for a conference call to discuss the approaching storm. I'll tell you this works well with technology. Is the 3 ROC conference calls I participated in, I was sitting in a class in Colorado and was able to manage all of those. The Board of County Commissioner issues a declaration of emergency. The county EOC opens the Emergency Operations Center. The City Emergency Operations Center is activated. The Operations Center is located at the fire station. And then our City Emergency Operations Plan is activated. Generally, you see watches and warnings, which are 48 hours out, warnings at 36 hours, and that's from the onset of expected tropical storm force winds arriving in the area. Tropical storms, again, between 39 and 73 miles an hour, and hurricanes above that at 74. This year for 2016, our focus is to review and update the Emergency Operations Plan. And the second one is pretty important right now. We're going to try to build some more organizational depth. Each one of those areas has a functional officer who serves as a section chief, who has a deputy who has the same level of education and preparedness. And with some resignations and some retirements over the last year, we're moving some additional personnel into those locations and into those seats, which again creates some openings in other parts of our organizational plan. So we're training, bringing folks up from other areas to do the same. Good example of that is during our storm last week, with the exception of a hurricane or a tropical storm actually showing up in Oldsmar, a lot of our things are generally public works events, flooding issues. And over the last, or 2 weeks ago when the tropical storm came, Kevin Cox and Janice Pierce did a really good job working their plan that we already have for making sure roads are closed and they're notified. That information gets to me. We update the county EOC at the same time. So our public work crews did a really good job during this last stormwater event. We're also working on creating an amateur radio program. We'll be rolling that out this year. This year's budget, we've included some portable and mobile radios that we can use during times that the main radio system is down. There's a pretty robust amateur radio program throughout Pinellas County. And we've had the CERT team and some radio groups from Pinellas County come and do some testing here in Oldsmar to make sure that the equipment that we buy serves not only the North Pinellas area and Oldsmar specifically, but we can also reach the EOC down at Largo, and we're able to do that. So we'll be doing that this year. And we'll be recruiting folks to learn to be amateur radio operators as well.
Just a question on that. Is that something that's unique, or is that something that's done routinely in areas, or is that something new?
It is in an area like this where they have the resources for it. Safety Harbor Fire started this about 6 or 7 years ago. Palm Harbor a couple of years ago, and now Eastlake, Tarpon, Dunedin, myself have done the same thing. So at least as our North group, which we do a lot of work together, we'll have communication with each other, and then again through the Pinellas County EOC. We're also looking at our secondary EOC in the event that we have a Category 3 hurricane and we have to go above a level C evacuation where we would have to move the EOC. We have a secondary EOC located. We have a MOU with Hampton Inn at US 19 in Gulf to Bay. It's in a non-flood, non-evacuation zone that we would run our secondary EOC from. So this year, operationally, we're going to be working with our operations group to create those task force and specifically look at those people who will be going to a secondary EOC for an activation. And then yearly, our search and rescue group training, because we have some changes in personnel through Public Works. You sometimes have some new folks come onto that train. Lieutenant Schwab is their group leader for search and rescue training. He'll get with those groups each year to go over equipment, planning, and what we're expecting to do. We have some preparedness links on the website. Talks about Code Red, which everybody's familiar with. It's a way of getting emergency notifications from the city sent to different telephones or text messages. Special needs, Lieutenant Gonzalez is our special needs coordinator. We have some certain people in the city who need special evacuation needs. He goes out and physically meets with them each year and talks to them and makes sure they're up to date and ready to go and they have a plan. We also have the Know Your Zone link on our website. So if you're not sure what your evacuation zone is, you can go put your address in and it'll tell you. Everybody in the city of Oldsmar is A, B, or C. A, B, or C. And then, excuse me, there's a storm surge predictor. This is actually pretty useful. Last year I met with one of the local groups that was expecting that if they had an issue, they could just stay in their clubhouse. And I showed them the storm predictor and that they would be about 8 feet underwater, and they decided to leave, so.
I've actually done that. You put in your address and you put in the level of the storm and it actually shows you, it shows a house. It's
See
obviously
a
not
house,
yours.
just a generic house, but then you see the houses underwater, and it's pretty impressive. So this is just a screenshot of the website for emergency management and disaster preparedness that lists those things that we just mentioned. So another hurricane season's upon us. It's not just hurricanes. Last July, we had a pretty significant rain event. It's hurricanes, it's wildfires, it's tornadoes, it's all of those things. The key is planning, and we have an all hazards approach to the way we do this. In the back of the room, we have the all hazards guide, which just showed up from Pinellas County. We have about 2,000 copies throughout the city, so if you need a copy of this, anybody, we can make sure that you get it.
And that website, by the way, for people that don't know, is myoldsmar.com is where you can find that, so.
Do you have any questions?
I have a comment, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Unless you don't believe it can really happen, I've lived in Pinellas County for 69 years, and I've seen some pretty rough hurricanes. A lot of those years was in Largo. In 1920, a storm formed on the Yucatan Peninsula in 1920, made its way straight up the Gulf and stalled directly west of Tarpon Springs and just sat there and twirled to become a Category 5. And then all of a sudden it made a direct strike towards Pinellas County. And when it got to the mouth of Tampa Bay, it was a Category 4. The water ended up in the city of Oldsmar on the other side of Tampa Road. A lot of the houses that was washed, in fact, where you're sitting right now is where everybody came to be safe, because everything else out here was underwater, and a lot of the houses got washed off their foundations. There was a barge from the shipyards in Tampa found out here on Tampa Road, right about where Forest Lakes Boulevard is. It was a massive hurricane. Now, we moved in the city of Oldsmar in 1966. We'd been here 2 months, and Agnes hit. They told us that we had to evacuate our home, and I said, my brand new home, I ain't leaving my house. Okay? I held my front window in for 2 hours. I couldn't get my arms unlocked. When the hurricane moved, it stalled out here. And when it started moving, the water went out of Oldsmar like this. And it sucked that water all the way past Corny Campbell Causeway. I had to replace the big window because and Elena got us. It went through our house. So don't think that it can't happen to you, because it can happen to you.
We do have the preparedness catchphrase, which is "Get out." So you want to,
Is that official?
that's our official
Let me tell you.
catchphrase.
Get out now? Is that what it is?
Well, when they said Charlie, y'all remember Charlie and those 4 hurricanes? When they said Charlie was coming up to the bay, my beautiful wife and mine and everything we had was in our van. And that one, I was ready to go.
Yeah. Well, and that's the interesting point that you make, is if the eye hits north of the bay, we are in trouble, and likewise, if it hits south, it could potentially suck all the water out of the bay. So definitely knowing, where it's at and paying attention. And one of the things we talked about when Lieutenant Gonzalez came to the coffee thing, we talked about hurricane preparedness, is be aware of the water. I mean, that you're in, and even with the little bit of water we had, I remember when former Councilmember Norris who lives down there by the water, was out there, walking around in the water, picking up stuff, but you don't know what's in that water. There's a lot of toxins, oils, greases, septic tanks, and she wound up with an infection because of an open cut. So you see these crazy people kayaking down the street and frolicking through the street. There's a lot of nasty stuff in that water.
Let me add this to you. Moccasin Creek is named because it's Moccasin Creek, okay? And during the same time you're talking about, people out there walking on trying to play down Shore Drive or play out in the park. I found after it was over with. Now these were dead. I found 4 moccasins and one. Now moccasins don't get really big, but this one was about that big around. Moccasins they drive them up here. So you want to walk out there?
No thanks.
You want to be
Even the
worried about a
storm that we
moccasin?
had 2 weeks ago, it destroyed about 50% of my dock.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, it was a non-event. No, it was an event.
Yeah.
It was an event for you.
Yeah, and the stuff that comes up from the bay, I get it every time.
Yeah.
The
debris and what have you.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff some stuff you wouldn't even want to mention that washes up there. It's just not right.
Good. Anything else? Any questions? Any questions from the audience of the chief about hurricane? Yeah.
My concern is for the pets, because a lot of shelters don't take pets, and they say, make sure you know where you're taking your pet, but if this whole area gets flooded.
That's a great question.
It is a very good question, because we saw in the 2004, we had people who did not want to leave because they didn't have their pets or were not able to take their pets. Since then, Pinellas County has opened 3 pet-friendly shelters, and the Pinellas County government website can list what those are. We also have them listed on our website. When we actually get to a point where we do an evacuation, we'll prepare an evacuation notice that tells you where the closest regular shelter is, the closest medical shelter is, and the closest pet-friendly shelter is as well. But look those up now.
Good. Any other questions for the chief? Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Next is the presentation of the Council Manager Award, which was going to be by Mr. Staracki, but I am absolutely honored to be able to do this. I can't believe she hasn't gotten one of these already. Amy, would you come up, please? Amy Reddick, Senior Vice President, Nielsen Public Affairs, Corporate Reputation, and Florida Site Leadership. Come over here by me. Hi. She's awesome. Good to see you. Don't read what I'm going to read.
Okay, all right.
I don't want to. Well, we're glad to do this. And we do this once a month, and we all take turns rotating. It was supposed to be Mr. Saraki, and obviously with the tragedy in his family, I'm honored to be able to do this. Let me read you a little bit about Amy. Is proud to have been working at Nielsen for the past 22 years and is currently the Senior Vice President of Public Affairs. She co-leads the Nielsen Global Technology Innovation Center in Tampa Bay. She has been a Florida resident for over 35 years and acquired her BA in Communications from the University of Central Florida in 1989. Amy began her career as a UCF tour guide and dabbled in advertising and public relations for the UCF Intramural Sports and Recreation Department. She became a traveling leadership consultant for Zeta Chi Alpha fraternity and worked with colleges and universities across the United States before being named Director of Student Activities at Thomas More College. After joining the Nielsen team in 1994, Amy held a position in training, client services, communications, and community alliances. She's a member of the American Heart Association Circle of Red. She's the 2016 chairwoman for the Go Red for Women campaign. She is involved with the University of South Florida's Women's in Leadership and Philanthropy, the St. Leo University College of Business Advisory Board, the University of Central Florida Nicholson School of Communications Board of Visitors, the University of Tampa Board of Fellows. She volunteers time with the Pinellas Education Foundation, co-chair of the Stavros, is that right? Stavros Committee, Gus Stavros Committee and Hillsborough Education Foundation as a member of the Career and Technology Education Committees. Amy is a board member of the Pinellas Education Foundation, AMI Kids Pinellas, Habitat for Humanity Pinellas County, Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce, and Girls Night to Give. She is also a proud member of Leadership Florida's Class of 29, residing in St. Petersburg with her husband and teenage daughter. She is an active member of Lector at St. Paul's Catholic Church. Amy's interests revolve around traveling, exercise, her 4 brothers' families, great friendships, and her Swiss heritage. Wow! No wonder I can't ever get a hold of you. So it is absolutely my honor, in behalf of Dan Saraki, to present you with the Council Manager Award for recognition presented to Amy Reddick, June 2016.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here in front of you, and I'm sorry to hear about Dan and Paula's loss, and certainly always love to see Gabby. Sorry that she's not here tonight, just because it's a pleasure to be in front of the City Council, and Ann, of course. So thank you very much for this honor, and as a representative of Nielsen, it's been my pleasure to work there for over 22 years and represent that company that I so proudly represent, and it's been truly a pleasure to be here in the city of Oldsmar. It's hard to believe that it's been 13 years since we made the move, and it's from Dunedin, and we always like to tell Dave Eggert that, right? I think you like to tell him that, but it certainly has been a pleasure to be here and to be a part of this community and to do as much as we can to give back to this great community. So again, thanks, and thanks for this honor.
I do gotta say this, that I believe 100% that the relationship that the City of Oldsmar and the Chamber of Commerce and our community have with Nielsen is directly related to your involvement with Nielsen and the city and your passion for what you do, and I credit you completely for that.
Thank you.
They have been a great partner to this city.
And I got to tell you, anytime that an organization is looking for a facility, Amy, and I feel like we go to the well too often sometimes, but Amy and Nielsen just without hesitation step forward and offer their facility to use for fundraising and for education foundation events and the like. So thank you again to you and to Nielsen. So thank you. Our next item is the Business of the Quarter Award, and that is Councilmember Beaverland.
This is really an incredible time for me to give this award. I've given it before, but it's extremely pleasurable this time because it's something that I have written about in one of my 4 books on the history of Oldsmar, and then the people involved. Tara, come up here and bring your friend. All right. Tara Cardell, and introduce your friend.
This is Bob Canigliaro. He's Vice President of Human Relations.
And been with the McDonald's for how many years?
I just started with them 41 years ago.
Mayor, I'm going to take a little time here because this is an incredible honor. I've written a few things down. An incredible honor for me to present the Council Manager Award, Business this quarter. I have known Tara since she was this big, right?
Yeah, maybe this big. 5, since I was 5.
Y'all have lived in Oldsmar almost 50 years.
Let's see, I'm 53, so yeah, 47 years, 48 years, yeah.
And her daddy passed away a few years ago, but her beautiful mama, Shelby, still drops by my youngest son's house. He's 50-some years old, but he's legally blind. and Shelby will always stop by to see how he's doing. He lives in his own home, and she lives across the street from him. And what makes it even more delightful for me, I knew Fritz Casper personally, who built the McDonald's here in Oldsmar. And I think that is extremely, Oldsmar has a great history with McDonald's. McDonald's has a great history with Oldsmar. Oldsmar became a city in 1975 because a McDonald's was built in Oldsmar in 1975 with a population of less than 1,500 people. Now, why would a McDonald's be built in the city of Oldsmar in 1975? There's only 1,500 people here, and the nearest McDonald's and the nearest human in any direction was 20 miles away. It's because the owner, Fritz Casper, lived, well, he called himself, he lived in the city of Oldsmar, but he actually lived right off South Racetrack Road. And I had the pleasure of knowing Fritz Casper. One of Fritz Casper's good friends was named Bob Wright. And Bob was a real estate man. And Bob actually sold Fritz the land, about 5 acres over here where our McDonald's now sits. And I was on council in 1970, 71, and a few years after that. And my beautiful wife and I ran a little newspaper here in town, a little rag newspaper where we lost money every time we did it. But it was fun to do. I kept the politicians in line after I left being a politician. Had the mayor one time said, I can't get anything done because of you and your paper. And I said, well, if you do it right, you'll get it done. Bob took me over to meet Fritz at his house. You would think the house would be elaborate and huge. It wasn't. It was just a regular home like you and I, and he was just a regular guy. He bought 5 acres over here on Tampa Road. That was actually a place where the nurseries kept their trees. All the reclinadas down Park Boulevard was donated to the city by Fritz. And let me read some of my notes here. I think Fritz and his family, his daughter Shirley, and the son Joe and Tom, came from Illinois. I think it was Illinois, was it not? In the middle of 1950s, and they built their first McDonald's over on in Tampa. And then Fritz, when Bob took me over there, Fritz wanted to build a McDonald's here in the city of Oldsmar because this was his city. And it wasn't because Countryside was going to be built here. It was because he wanted a McDonald's in the city of Oldsmar. And so he built one. And in January of 1975, the dedication of this McDonald's was dedicated. And I was there. I took photographs. Now bear with me a minute. Mayor, I'm going to read a little bit out of this book.
You do whatever you got to do.
The history of Oldsmar's very own McDonald's. It was like Oldsmar had finally made the big leagues. When you visit any all-American town, and it just happens to be lunchtime, one of the first places you look for is a McDonald's. The Golden Arches have become an American icon. In today's environment, almost every American city has at least one McDonald's. I came from Idaho. The nearest McDonald's where I grew up is 56 miles away because we live lost in the mountains. Even in Japan, China, Europe, they're covered border to border with thousands of McDonald's. Every citizen of every nation knows where their nearest McDonald's is located. Ask these same citizens who their government leaders are, and they won't be able to tell you. But they can tell you where their McDonald's is. Every time she went to trip to England, the first place they would find is a McDonald's to have their dinners or their suppers. And then it says, remember when the words under the golden arches used to read, over 1 million sold? Then over 1 billion sold? These famous words are no longer visible and gone forever because we cannot count that high. And it said, well, I guess they could put these words in, over 1 quadrillion, billion, million, gazillion sold. Ridiculous, isn't it? Well, Oldsmar is no different than any other of those towns and cities, except Oldsmar's McDonald's is rather unique when its history is examined. Oldsmar's McDonald was built in 1970. Actually, it was built in 1974, but it was dedicated in January of 1975. And our citizenry was less than 1,500 people. I have original photos of the McDonald's when it was built. I have a photo of the dedication, and even better than that, I have a photo of January of 1975 of Ronald McDonald in the city of Oldsmar.
That's fun.
I'll be darned.
It's a little different now.
Is it Willard Scott back then?
And then I want to read just a little bit what the chamber has said. Yeah, I'm going to lose it. Anyway, the chamber, there are literally hundreds of thousands of examples of Casper companies giving in the Tampa Bay area. I think they own about 78 of them now? 53. Okay, 53 of them. Nearly, in this McDonald's here, and the Casper people, and these people that run the McDonald's over here in the city of Oldsmar, they help nearly every school, law enforcement agency, fire department, city and county administrations, and program, Little League, military organizations, charities, and nonprofit has benefited from their generosity. This most often takes form of good giveaways, incentives, discounts, and other forms of support, like having Ronald McDonald come to your city. It says the fifth city. They have helped the city of Oldsmar for our antique shows, our Oldsmar Day Parade, our Celebrate Oldsmar, City of Oldsmar golf tournaments, Oldsmar Library, summer reading program, Oldsmar's water conservation poster, Oldsmar's Baptist Church, Parents Night Out, Oldsmar Elementary School for incentives, and it goes on and on and on and on. So now they just redid the thing. And I guess it's a good thing to redo it, but I love the old building. I want to ask you a question. Well, usually in the beginning, those years, McDonald's always had a different decor in their restaurants. What was the decor in Oldsmar's restaurant?
Racetrack.
She did it.
I started there in '79. It was all horsetrack.
Everything in there, all the walls were painted with horses, the racetrack. Everything was related to the racetrack out here, and very few people know that. And you should.
36
And you
years.
did. It is with great honor, with great pleasure, that I can present this Oldsmar Business of the Quarter Award recognition presented to Casper Company McDonald's Restaurants, 2/16, the second quarter. Jerry, you come up here with me. Head of our chamber. You want to say anything about them?
Oh, a great restaurant where, like I said, the parades and everything, they're there all the time. We'll get several hundred entrants in the parade, and they wind up giving us all the big containers of juice and everything else. They're just everywhere. Nielsen, okay? You couldn't have two better partners than Nielsen and McDonald's in this city, I'll tell you that.
And I know the mayor loves every bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
Pleasure to present this to you.
Thank you. It is quite an honor for us at Casper's Company. I don't know, Jerry mentioned that, millions and then billions and so forth. Actually, McDonald's serves 69 million people a day in 100 20 countries around the globe. But for Tara Lynn and myself, the most important people here are the great citizens of Oldsmar, and we're honored to serve you. Thank you for this presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's kind of interesting, Jerry. I heard a little bit different version of the story. What I had heard when we went and did a We Mean Business, what was it, about a year ago? A little over a year ago. Shortly after they remodeled, Ray Kroc, the founder of McDonald's, well, Fritz is, correct me if I'm wrong, but as I recall it, Fritz made suits for him up in Illinois. Is that correct? That's correct. So he used to make suits for Ray Kroc, and from what I understand, Fritz liked to fish at the top of Tampa Bay, and Ray Kroc said, "You move down there, and I'll build you a McDonald's in Oldsmar," and because you would normally never build one for a population of 1,500 people, and so that was great. And then I also had heard, and I don't know if this is true or not, but that Fritz often would put the keys to the McDonald's in the pot at the poker table from time to time. So he would put the keys to the McDonald's in there. And then the one story that I heard, obviously, as Casper grew in the area, is that the local management would call, the corporate and say, there is some old man out back trimming the shrubs. And they said, don't worry about it, that's Fritz. So, he was a great person, and we're glad to have McDonald's as a corporate partner for us, too.
Oh, definitely.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, very nice.
You can give me the $50 later.
25 Big Macs.
I'll give you a free Big Mac.
I don't have $50, but I have an all-day breakfast card.
City Attorney, can I take this?
Yes, you can. It's under $100.
That doesn't mean you can sit there all day.
30-minute no longer.
As long as you're not out back trimming bushes. Next item is the Employee Service Award. City Manager is going to do that.
Thank you, Mayor. This evening, I'm very pleased to present a 15-year service award to Jason Schwabe.
One of our finest.
Yep.
With a whole bunch of them over here.
And also, I know that your family came with you this evening, so why don't you ask them to come up, stand with you, and I'll let you introduce them.
It's my wife, Amy. Actually, I met at the old fire station that used to stand next to us here. My son, Caden, and Callie.
We're glad that you came this evening also. And y'all still go over there and just park in the parking lot sometimes, don't you?
Only after midnight.
Okay, well, I didn't know how you were going to answer that, but anyway, it just came to me. So this service award is in recognition for 15 years of service to the city of Oldsmar, presented to Jason Schwabe, 2001 to 2016. There's a check that goes along with it, so I'll hand those over to you. And I did my usual amount of research in preparing for the presentation, which was basically none. But I know that you started in 2001 because it's on the plaque, and as a firefighter paramedics, right?
Yes, sir.
And so now this evening, we're marking your 15th anniversary with Oldsmar Fire Rescue, which is certainly a milestone. I'm happy that we can recognize you and the service that you provided over those 15 years. And then sometime, I don't remember when, you were promoted to lieutenant. When was that?
2013.
I knew it was a few years ago. And tonight, there's a number of your coworkers I see are present also this evening, and I think they all came to hear the chief's presentation. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you told them they had to be here.
Yeah, it was just coincidental that you're getting your award. That's kind of what I figured how it turned out that way. But in Oldsmar Fire Rescue, a lieutenant serves as a company officer. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
But I bet a lot of people, they'll watch the meeting on television, on cable, or on their computer. So maybe you could just take a couple of minutes and very briefly talk about what does a company officer do? What does that mean?
Well, I'm kind of, I guess, in charge of the crew for the day, and get to work with some great people like the guys that are over there. Sit on the right side of the truck when you see it going down, kind of tell the driver where to go, and make some decisions along the way on calls.
Yes. In other words, you're the person in charge. Yes. So, once again, I just want to say that we appreciate the service that you've provided to the community over the past decade and a half. And tonight we have an opportunity just to say thank you and let you know we appreciate the work that you do and the service you provide. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Anything else?
And just, thank you for the opportunity. I was, fortunate 15 years ago to start out here, and been able to work with a lot of great people, and even Dave, I get to work with him too. This Saturday is actually my actual 15th anniversary with the city, and it's also our 12th wedding anniversary. So
wow.
So here you go. Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Congratulations to you too, Amy.
Thanks, sir.
Congratulations.
Mayor, I'd like to make a comment. Jason, these guys are incredible. They've been to my house a number of times for different reasons, but I had my last radiation treatment this past week, and I have right now it's a pretty serious complication. We're trying to find out what it is. You might have saw me, I kind of stumbled down there. I have to take a double dose of pain pills. Sunday it was hurting my back so bad that I didn't even want to be here. I couldn't walk, so my wife said, I called Jason on his home, and I told him, I said, Jason, just how should I do that? He said, don't worry about it. In just a few minutes, some of these guys showed up at my house, which I really appreciate. I spent Father's Day in the ER at East Countryside, going through all kind of tests and everything. You never really appreciate these guys. Some years ago, they saved my son from dying the day I found him. We lost him 9 months later. But I had 9 more months with him because of these guys. The bald-headed one back in the back. When they came to my house, my beautiful wife had a mini stroke. And he sat up there with me for hours and hours. They're incredible. Thank you all. Thank you, Jason.
I think Jason's really a smart man, and you know why? Not just because of the job he does for the city and everything, because he knows the day he got hired, and he made sure that the wedding was the same day.
Planning, didn't it?
Right there, brother.
Because the city then reminds you when your anniversary is
Exactly.
of your employment.
This is coming
And
up.
you go,
And he's like, boom.
boom. That's right. Wedding anniversary.
Smart man out there.
There you go.
Only years 5, 10, and 15.
Yeah, exactly. Congratulations. Congratulations to everybody. Our next item, City Attorney, you have anything?
No, sir.
Thank you. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The next item, approve Pinellas County Emergency Medical Services Continuing Medical Education Agreement. This is a new agreement, excuse me, between the county and each of the fire rescue departments within Pinellas County. Historically, continuing medical education was provided by St. Petersburg College. This year, the county has transferred that responsibility to the various fire departments and agencies within Pinellas County, and the instructors are from employees of the various departments. So the agreement provides that any cost incurred by the city when our employees are serving as an instructor, the county will reimburse us or pay for those costs. So that's kind of a brief summary of the agreement. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond to those. I recommend approval of the agreement with the Pinellas County EMS Authority.
Thank you. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Yes.
Aye. 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor and Council, item 12, authorized sale of beer and wine at Celebrate Oldsmar on September 2 and 3, 2016. This is an annual event. I believe that we first started the sale of beer and wine in 2013, so this would be the 4th year. We do obtain a permit from the Division of Alcoholic Beverages. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to respond to those. I am requesting your authorization to include that as part of Celebrate Oldsmar Labor Day weekend.
Thank you. For discussion purposes, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion on this item? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye?
Yes.
Yes, 3-0. Thank you.
Mayor, on the second one, on this next item, being I want to put it on, can I make a motion?
Can you introduce it first?
Sure, it's a review traffic calming program. We had a request for a traffic calming item, a speed bump in a particular part of our city. And there's a process that evidently that I wasn't aware of. I think it was done when the year I was off in 2010, and I didn't know anything about it. So what I would like to do is make the motion that we go ahead and follow the process and send this to the TRC, which they will consider, and then they will bring it back to the council. The council will make the final decision, and I'll say up front, I will support it. But I think this is the best thing to do. Now, we have 2 of our members gone. So I'll make the motion that we send it to the TRC for review.
Second? You have a second? And then discussion?
We have a process in place. That's fine. I'll second the motion.
And this is for discussion only, but Bruce, can you kind of elaborate on what that process is? Because it really is more than just putting in speed bumps. There's a lot of components that go into it.
Yeah, the process itself I spoke to the city manager about this, and I got to say what I got to say. That's just who I am. It's 6 pages of gobbledygook. It could have been written, I think, in a page and a half, but the process is there. And if you want to read it, I mean, it is, to me, it's boring all the way through it, but
Yeah, Bruce.
I honor the city manager. I will follow it.
That's what I asked, yeah.
So the process actually started at the last meeting. The residents submitted their petition. So that was the beginning of the process. And what happens in the interim period is we'll also collect data on what's actually transpiring on the street. We're talking about Pepper Tree Drive. So the request would go to the Technical Review Committee next month in July. And then subsequent to that, there would also be a neighborhood meeting where residents in the area would have an opportunity to comment on any proposed plan or changes or what, might be changed, implemented as a traffic calming measure. And then, as Mr. Beverland stated, it would come back to the city council for a final action.
Okay, any questions?
No. I don't know if you intended to have anyone
I mean, not with this motion. I mean, I'd like to see the process out and then we review it all in its entirety, I think, is kind of my thought.
Yeah, you know, my feeling on it is, as long as that there is a process and, you know, if the citizens who live there want a speed bump, they should get a speed bump. So, and essentially this is what this process does. It's probably a little bit more formal, which is not a bad idea. Holding a community meeting, because, you know, look, I got an email, as everyone else did, of somebody who said, hey, I don't want a speed bump. And so it presents a formal process, even though somebody has spent the time and due diligence to get signatures, it still presents an opportunity for people to come out who are opposed to the idea. So,
Yeah, I mean, 'cause
and at council.
yeah, and I think that's why we want to wait, because it really does affect more people than just Pepper Tree. I sell real estate, and I've been over there probably a dozen or 18 times in the past 2 weeks and been driving on Pepper Tree. So I've been, you know, watching it and paying attention to what's going on. So I'd like to see the process, but it does affect other people in the Harbor Palms community. So I'd like to hear and let them know, because I've got them in my neighborhood, and I got to be honest with you, it's safe for about the first 5 feet before and the first 5 feet after the speed bump, but the rest of the time, you know, they're doing whatever they do, which is speeding past my house.
I didn't want to get into
No, I
any
know.
conversation
That's fine.
tonight, but because, as you know, I can get into a real deep conversation right now,
Sure.
but I don't want to until this process is.
That's fine. I'd rather hear the numbers and the facts and everything. So motion and a second. Any other discussion up here? All in favor?
Yes.
Aye. So what is the motion? To wait till?
Till it comes back from TRC.
Okay. We don't have a particular date or time for that, so
council.
we'll wait and then schedule it. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay.
It'll be next month sometime.
Well, so yeah, the meeting, we'll let those know when that'll be on the agenda, so. Anything else?
That's all for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk, do you have anything?
I don't have anything.
Thank you. City Council, first item, authorize the city attorney to prepare an amendment to the interlocal agreement with Safety Harbor, Tarpon Springs, and Tarpon Springs, revising the Pinellas Suncoast Transit Authority membership rotation from 2 to 3 years. I guess it's actually Safety Harbor, Tarpon Springs, and the city of Oldsmar that are in that agreement. I actually serve on the PSTA, and in discussion with some other elected officials that have served on the PSTA, and I know Eric has served, the complexity of the PSTA has changed over the years with the committees, and it's just felt that 3 years actually gives you a little bit more time to be effective for both the city of Oldsmar and Safety Harbor and Tarpon Springs. Whoever the appointee is represents the other two communities. So that's kind of the background on how we got to this point. So if that's all right with everybody, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion on this item?
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Having served before.
And it's even more complex with the committees.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on the legislative committee, and, you know, it takes a year to discuss one legislative agenda in Tallahassee, and, you know, with a 2-year term, by the time you discuss it, you're out. So your discussion's kind of pointless, but at any rate, and that would be written to be effective during this term. Is that correct?
The 3-year term would be effective currently, so
It would change
it
the
would be
end date.
drafted so that, well, you're in the current seat. You have the seat currently, and your term would be extended 1 year. So instead of October 1 of 16, your term would be extended 1 year to October 1 of 17, and that would be the first 3-year term.
Okay, just for clarity. So I think it's good. The terms on the PSTA that are served by other people that hold full seats are 9 years is the term. So 3 cities, I was able to cipher that math in my head and come up with 3. So motion and a second. If no other discussion, all those in favor?
Yes.
Aye, 3-0. Thank you. Next is approve the excused absence of Councilmember Gabby McGee.
Can we put Dan on here this morning?
He's already on for the next agenda. I had to ask Bruce. I mean, I'm fine with excusing it now if we want. It's really a process. It kind of happened unexpectedly. Can we add that?
Normally, we do it at the meeting following the
At the agenda? So that's fine. So we can go ahead and do Gabby, and Dan is already on there for the next one. So need a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Yes,
All those in favor?
yes.
That passes. Thank you very much. Next and final item is comments by council, and we'll start with the freshly back from vacation Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I really don't have any comments other than to say summer's here, kids are out of school, be safe. And of course, my condolences to the Sarakis on their loss. I spoke to Dan today briefly, and they're up in Buffalo. I had the services yesterday, and they're spending some time with Paula's dad. So Dan was, of course, upset that he was going to miss tonight's meeting. So anyhow, but outside of that, I just have kind of felt tonight, like if you've ever seen a sporting event and there's only two guys up in the stadium and they're doing the wave, I feel like that. I don't know why, but that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Well, you want to start it, I'll end it.
There you go.
No, we don't. We don't have a motion to approve, so. Councilmember?
Our hearts and minds are with the Saraki family, and just thank you all for who you are.
Thank you. I don't really have a lot. Also, thoughts and prayers with the Sarakis, and also, Oldsmar Christian for their unexpected loss of one of their players. It's always tragic, especially when it comes unexpectedly to, such a young individual that had a lot of potential. I've been watching the news, and that school has cranked out so many great athletes over the years, and the school is to be commended for the leadership that they give those kids. And, he probably had a great future ahead of him. So I'm waiting to hear. And as I said, the coach is going to be with Rick Petito, that's our former deputy, at the University of Louisville. So that speaks volumes of the program there. So definitely hearts and prayers to those guys as well.
Well, Mayor,
Yeah.
there's nothing, very few things that can affect you more than losing a child.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Especially unexpectedly,
Yes, yes.
So at any rate, also I wanted to, since now we're officially into summer, we are going to go to casual wear. So except unless advised otherwise, if we have some special presentation or something, we can go casual, which is like Eric. I just didn't grab my jacket today. So, but
That means you want me to take my tie off next time?
you can do whatever you want. Of course, Tom will always be wearing a tie. So we can always count on Tom with the tie. So he might surprise us one time and come in with not a tie.
It would be a surprise.
Yes, it would. As I said, even when we did the tie-dyed shirt, he had the tie on underneath the tie-dyed shirt. So anything else? Anything? Clerk? No? Anybody? It's all good. Thank you so much. Meeting adjourned.